Good morning. The weather has turned here in Austin. I think the weather has probably, judging from what you guys are wearing, it might have turned where you guys are. A little bit of fall weather. It's pretty amazing. We have 6 awesome weeks ahead to just get business for 2022. So that's exciting. Before we get started on our topic this morning that I think you're going to love, let's jump into shout outs and gratitude. Shout outs and gratitude. Who in your world needs a shout out, needs gratitude, or what are some of your wins? Go ahead and pop your hand up. Daniel Weiser, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm super grateful for Mackenzie, our contract coordinator here at BKT Austin. First off, she's a joy to work with. Second off, her speed in which she responds is absolutely incredible, as you probably know. So super grateful for her. Also super grateful for call night tonight that I will be winning best costume in advance, and also for the opportunity to be leveling up our business.
I love that. Anybody else doing call night tonight?
Woohoo!
Mr. Sergio Flores apparently is definitely doing a call night tonight. It's on San Antonio. I think we've got better costumes, but fine, whatever floats your boat. Hi, may I see your hand? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out. We have a new member on our team. His name's Eric Morton, and I'll give him a huge shout out. So him and I, we've been good friends for about 8 years now. We actually were in business together back in 2015. And the reason I want to give him a shout out, he brings a lot of knowledge to the team. And just in 2 days, in the first 2 days of being on this team and showing up to script practice, he brings a totally different dynamic. And Eric, super blessed to have you on board. And I want everybody in Texas, of course, to know as well. And then, of course, Mr. Baker in Montana.
Right on, right on. I love that. Welcome to the company, Eric. Awesome. Can't wait to get to know you better. That's amazing. Right on. Allie, going to you.
It's always hard I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, I want to say I'm grateful for this person, all these different things, but I'm just going to say them all and just keep it condensed, although I ruined it just now. But Jen Velarde just went above and beyond to be there for me this week. And I don't know what I would do without people on the team that are just willing to be there for one another. We had a couple of teammates that helped another teammate move into her house. Everybody just kind of shows up for one another, and it's a really great feeling, and the culture on our team just continues to grow and just be that way. And so I just love showing up, and I love my people. So yay.
I love that. Gosh, showing up is such one of those things that, like, what's your superpower? I show up for other people. Yeah. Like, it doesn't sound super sexy, but man, is it like fundamental to our lives. Love 100%. It. Thank you, Allie, for those shout outs. That's awesome. Man, okay. All right, let's get started. So it is Thursday. And I know many of you guys are having business planning next week, or maybe even the week after, however your team has it scheduled. It's all good. And I know that many of you, maybe 99.9% of you, are gonna have sellers as part of your priorities for next year. In fact, some of you may have sellers right now. Some of you may have sellers who are either on the fence, off the fence, or perhaps even they're on the market and they've been on the market and then they're sitting. We in Austin have 31 listings sitting. So maybe we're the worst. Maybe we're the worst here, but you guys might have some listings sitting. So I want to introduce you guys this morning to my friend, Jason Baker. He is, I'm going to spotlight him, but he's the one, if you can't miss him, he is wearing a coat because it's probably like -2 degrees in Montana. Jason is in Montana. Jason, how long have you been with the company now? A while?
Yeah, I've been with Place for 3 years in August, so just over 3 years.
All right, so 3 years in August. Before that, but you've been in real estate a long time.
Yeah, this August 1st was my 9th year.
I love that. Mortgage industry before that?
Mortgage industry before that for 10 years, yeah.
All right, and then he, like, he was born. The gray is just early. I love that. So I had sent out a few messages to people I trusted. And I asked, man, what is your superpower? What is it that our Texas teams in Dallas and Fort Worth and Midland and Odessa, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, everywhere. Like, what could we learn from you? And he replied back that he is crushing it with price reductions. Now, you may call them price alignments, price adjustments, price reductions, positioning, whatever, use whatever word. We're all trying to get the same thing. We got to get that house to sell. We got to have that conversation with the seller. So I'm going to turn it all over to Jason. What I encourage you to do, because I've already seen the content and it's really good. If you don't have your notes out, you're going to have to listen to this replay. So, pick your poison, listen now or zone out and listen later. You're going to want to listen to it either way. Jason, it's all you. We are ready to hear your superpower.
No, thank you very much. The original superpower, before you can talk about a price improvement or a price reduction, depending on who you're talking to, you have to, you have to be in the listing arena, right? So that's, my superpower is taking listings, but a byproduct of that now is going back into having frank conversations. And if anyone's hung around me for a little while, I'm the guy that just blurts stuff out all the time, so it's really good. Hard conversations to me are actually the best kind of conversation, because because truth to me is really everything, and just being upfront and not being weird. So we're going to get into and someone asked what part of Montana I live in. I live in Missoula, or just south of Missoula in the Bitterroot Valley, and our office is in Missoula, and we work, any county that touches Missoula, we work. But I think we could all agree, Adelina, that we are entering into a shifting market, a normalizing market, a retracting market. I like to think of it as the biggest opportunity that we have ever had in our real estate careers. I was not ready the last time because I did not save. I did not have assets. I was irresponsible with lots of things. And this time around, I'm actually ready, and I'm actually looking forward to whatever may come, right? We're made to do hard things, and sometimes we get a little complacent and we get a little bit, things are too easy. So, but look, there's a chasm right now between what a buyer is feeling out there and what a seller is feeling. A seller is kind of like, I'm cocky. I'm still thinking it's 6 months ago, because there's so much misinformation out there right now. And it's our job to bring that clarity both to the buyer and to the seller. So a buyer thinks, well, the market's going down, because of course a buyer wants to think under market and a seller wants to think above market. It's our job as real estate agents to bridge the gap through education, content, and frank discussions. You're going to hear that word frank all day long, or all morning long, or until you fall asleep from this presentation. Our job as real estate agents is to take saleable listings. In other words, listings that actually sell. Our job is not to collect expired listings. Okay. It is not to collect expired listings. I see all of the, have I ever overpriced one? Yes. I have overpriced tens and tens of listings over the last couple of years, because you kind of didn't really know where the ceiling was, right? So, and then, you got lucky and they actually sold, right? But it's just one of those things that, it's time to start looking on a daily basis at our listing inventory. And again, having those frank conversations with those sellers. We can do this as a group, or we can do this individually. And we need to go in, like today, I need to go in right now. I'm looking at, I know you can't see my screen, but I'm going in, I have a tab in my MLS that says my listings. And every day I'm looking at these listings and I'm going, how many showings did I have? Okay, and what do I need to tell, if I'm honest, and I don't have that, icky feeling, if I'm honest, what exactly do I need to say to that seller today in order to get 3 to 5 showings a week on that listing and get it sold? That's the question. If I wake up at night, it's because at 2 a.m., that's what I'm thinking about, right? And the older I get, sometimes I wake up at night because I have to pee. But let's just be honest, okay? So I'm 46 now, right? So it's just the way that it is. I think some people can relate to that, okay? So like, we have to walk the fine line between salesmanship, right? Like getting the signature while we're at the listing presentation and being frank and honest in about where we are. And that's an art, just figuring out how do I I know I'm there and I know I got to get the signature and everything is screaming, close, 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 close. And they're like, I'm at 1.2 and you're at 1. And you're like, I just want to take this thing, because maybe in the back of your mind, you're thinking it 6 months ago. You have got to master right now how to present comparable sales at a listing presentation in future pace where the market's going, but also being super confident in the questions that you're asking throughout that presentation. It has never been more important to understand the comps and how to present comps. Okay, so look, we have it. So walking that fine line between salesmanship. Now the next thing, I was thinking we have to make enough calls. I got a call from Jolene the other day. Jolene says, "How many calls, Jason, do you have to make on a for sale by owner in order to get a listing appointment?" I said, "Normally 4 or 5, and I'll have a listing appointment, or at least a pre-qual filled out, right? And listing appointment set, pre-qual, they may cancel because they're nuts. But now it's but now it's probably 10, 11, or 12 per FSBO, right? That I have to talk to. So we have to make enough calls as professional prospectors to compensate now for the indecision, the unmotivated, the unwilling, the people who are, petrified of what's going on. They're kind of like when people get scared, they just kind of stand still. They just don't do anything, right? So we have to make enough 30 to 50% more daily contacts to maintain or grow our business. And people that's hard to hear, right? Because we're still trying to get up to 10 or 15 every day. And now we're like, oh gosh, darn it. I might have to make 30. I don't know about you, but I have calluses now because I own a farm. But up until 2.5 years ago, I never had a callus except the mouth callus. This is literally the easiest job in the world because I got told no a lot during my college dating career. All we need to do is we just need to go online. You can put that as a quote of the day. There you go. And it's true. It's why I have the gray hair, pickup lines. But the fact of the matter is that we just have to be mentally prepared to do what it takes in the morning to hear no more, because it's going to take more talks and better talks with more skill, which means more role play, more chanting, more writing the scripts down, more understanding all of that stuff, 30 to 50% more daily contacts to maintain and grow your business. I'm sorry, but it literally is what people need to hear. That's part of the frank discussion. Okay. Now look, we must tell ourselves that people want, okay, this is conditioning your mind. People want and deserve frank conversations. All right. There's not a lot of people I know, if I was to send out a survey that said, I want you to lie to me. Okay. Maybe when I'm looking at the scale, I kind of lie to myself. But anyways, okay. But a few thoughts before we dive in here. If you don't have listings, then you don't have to listen to this webinar. Okay. Actually, Adeline already said you had to, so you have to. Okay. If you don't have listings, you might consider afternoon sessions, night sessions, or doing whatever it takes to start getting in the listing arena. Okay. Price the listings right to start with, which means learn how to present the comps. Again, and like I said, future pace what's happening here with the market. Understand more sales and more happy people means a larger center of influence, sphere of influence, past client base to call, build your business. When I moved to Montana, I knew 17 people. Okay. I didn't know anybody when I moved here, and I talked super weird because I was from Massachusetts, right? And I mean, a Massachusetts in Montana sticks out. I didn't know anybody. FSBO's expired. It's just listed, just sold, and I now have an 800 person, center of influence. And it was simply just a byproduct of I can either feed my family or not. So it was just a matter of just getting on the phone and building, a business, which I'm super blessed to have. Thank God. Okay. Understand that we are hired to have tough conversations, ego-free with buyers and sellers. It's why we're here. I know it's tough, but the tougher thing is at some point, you're going to have a tough conversation. I'd rather have a tough conversation at the forefront of this whole entire thing than later when I said, I kind of lied to you on the price just to get you to sign. Don't say that, but that's really what happened. I kind of was fibbing. I was kind of sugarcoating this thing, take this listing. And now, this is kind of like, now I'm being honest. Well, be honest up front. I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying be uber honest up front. And we're going to go over how and what some of that looks like. In today's, it's funny how in today's market, even like a smallish price reduction, like 25,000, right, will cause an offer to come. Like, why in the world, if you had a house price at like 750, there's like no showings, it's like crickets. And then you improve it to 725. It'll cause an offer to come in. Like, it defies logic. Like, why the heck wasn't there any showings at 750, right? So even just a small one would come. I don't know if it's agent input, if it's a stale listing. The people didn't come because they never thought the seller would take $25,000 off in this market or whatever else, which they all are now, it seems like. And, maybe there was better options out there, competition, but whatever the reason was, that buyer was not coming to see that property, a price reduction should increase activity on that listing. Here's a real important one. If you get nothing, if the rest of this has been horrible, is come up with really good weekly content and deliver it weekly. Now, WEEKLY, not WEAKLY, okay? Deliver the content weekly, all right? Set the expectation and follow through. Good content is non-salesy, data-driven stuff that you actually show them, okay? So what that looks like for me, we'll get into in just a little bit. So in the last 3 years, egos have been off the charts, right? In the next 3, you're going to see a lot of the egos go away, a lot of the egos fall out of the business, or the smart play is replacing the ego with skills, right? The hardest thing is when you think you're so great or life has been easy for the last 3 years, right? And we had to figure out the COVID market too. But the easiest thing is to say, nailed it, 39 offers. When, you wrote your description in capital letters, you had 3 cell phone photos in the MLS, or maybe that, and it was still a freaking flip phone, and you sold it despite yourself, right? Not anybody here, but I'm just saying, people in the MLS, right? Nailed it. It's like, to me, that was kind of like, if you worked at McDonald's, thank God for the people that work there, right? I mean, look at me. But the thing is that imagine they were doing TikTok every time they flipped a burger, like, whoa, flipped a burger today, so we got so egotistical over the last 3 years. It's like, whoa, I'm a big hit anyway. Never mind if my, ego. Okay. All right. I digress. But look, so like, what do I have to do? What am I doing differently now? Like, so some real tangible stuff. I got to set the expectation at the listing appointment. We went on one last night with one of my agents, man. This guy, Luke, he's just like a madman on the telephone. I love it. Just an animal. And he's setting all these listing appointments. Didn't even know what the hell is going on. He's like, he's just setting them. He just doesn't even care. He just come on, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Which time works best for you? And I'm like, yes, I'm over there. Like, I'm excited. So we went on it. The person was like 1.4. So I made him call back, and I made him call and say, sir, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cancel our appointment this afternoon. And he's like, well, why? We did, we told you we were going to be brutally honest, and we did all of the comps, and we're just not even in the same ballpark. He said, well, where are you at? They go, well, we're under your low point. Okay. Well, I mean, do you want us to come over there and show you what it's actually worth? I mean, are you willing to listen to reason? And he said, yeah. And then we dropped a package off, and we went there, and by gosh, we got them down in the mid, 1,050. Right. So and there's some health things going on there, some condition things that we couldn't overcome. Right. And I use you probably better listen now because you might not be around next month close. No, I'm just kidding. I did not do that. Okay. Adelina, you got to edit that part out. Do not send that to Ben. Okay. Please don't do that. Just whatever you do. But look, we got to set the realistic expectations, right? We cannot take a listing and then disappear for a month because we don't want to have a frank conversation for 4 weeks or 4.35 weeks. And then we call them in a month and we're like, we got to reduce. You just can't do that. It's like the inventory level. So here's what I go over with them. Now I have a thing called Camtasia. Okay. Yeah, I have a thing called Camtasia. I record my screen and my face, okay? My face is like that and the screen's like that. So just, so, but anyways, but the thing is that, and I go over the inventory level right now. I actually record the screen, okay? Put up Camtasia, hit record, it records the screen. I'm in my MLS. And here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how many, yep, Camtasia is the thing that records my screen. Snagit, Camtasia, whatever, okay? So I look at how many are in inventory. So for instance, we used to have 60 in Missoula County, and I tell them that. And now, because telling them with your mouth is not enough. You got to show them on the screen. And this is what's been the game changer for me for the last 3 months, is I'm showing them the actual screen, because they're like, salesperson, he's talking in general terms. This isn't my house, but whammo. I show them the freaking MLS. And I record it. And I don't even know if that's legal, but I do it anyways. I don't make it public. I just send it to them. Okay. And I said, all right, there's 232 now in Missoula County. There was 60. That's a 4x increase in inventory. Okay. Now here's the big thing. We were 9 days on market, but now we're at 90. That's a 10x increase, lady, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, 4 days on market. Okay. But here's what I really want you to look at. So there's 232. There was 60. It's 90 days on market. It was 9 seconds. And now, but here's the big one, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is where the average price reduction on homes that are still not sold, which means they haven't reduced enough yet, is $50,000 mean. The average is 108. But we'll take the mean is 50. Do you see that? And they're still not sold. So what does that mean, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? It means that they still need to come down yet. Okay. So I do that. Days on market, inventory levels, what they were. Thankfully, I have a snapshot of what they were at their low. Okay, we actually in Missoula had 21 homes for sale. 7 were to be built at one point in time. And somehow we increased our numbers, and it's just phone work. But anyways, they still need to come down. You still need to come down yet. That's so important to tell them that. Okay, and this home is still not sold. The fact that affordability, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is an all-time low. When you go to Costco, are you spending $500 now? Okay, are you seeing the "Let's Go Brandon" stickers on the gas pumps? I'm sorry, I know it's Austin. I apologize. Okay, the fact and the affordability, the fact that affordability is at an all-time low, rates are up, buyer confidence is down, and I even last week did a thing, and I'll email it to you. It might be the shittiest spreadsheet you've ever seen in your whole entire life, Adelina, but I'll send it to you anyways. But it went over the payment, so $800,000 was $3,373 at 3%. Then it went down to like 705 or whatever it was, and at 33.73 at 4%. So anyways, the long and short of it is 800,000 is now 507,000 at today's rate. So I show that to sell. This is why your house is still sitting there. Okay. Buyers are feeling like if they wait, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they can get a better deal. All right. They just do. Okay. That if you're not, now here's the big one. You got to know this. And I know this because I use Showing Time. And by the way, with Showing Time, you better be sending them their listing thing every week. Set it up, come out on Monday. Send that. Goes over how many showings, how many days on market, and the feedback all in a report that they get. That's the most, and that's also what's something I have pulled up if I'm having an actual phone conversation with them. Okay. Now, if they're not receiving in my market 3 to 5 showings a week, it used to be like 30. If they're not receiving 3 to 5 showings a week, unless there's a major access issue, like you have to parachute into the freaking thing, they should get 3 to 5, which in Montana could happen, 3 to 5 showings a week. Okay. And if you don't have 1 or 2 offers within 14 days, it means you're overpriced. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is it okay? And do I have permission to have these frank conversations with you on a weekly basis? I constantly get their permission to be frank. That way, when I'm frank, it's not like this guy's a jerk, you know, that kind of thing. Now, they still may say that. But, okay. Now, the longer it sits on the market, the less you're likely going to receive on an offer. Would you go, if you were purchasing a home, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to a house that's been on the market for 1.5 years and offer full price? So through the best market we've ever had and through a little downturn, I mean, would that be an indicator that this home is priced right and it is in super high demand? No. Of course not, right? Another thing I say, hoping and waiting is not in our marketing plan. Hoping and waiting is not in our marketing plan, okay? And it should not be in yours. Okay, now I am framing everything as if I'm going to be calling them for a price reduction. I am not saying I am super realtor. Okay, they can look at my merit or the proof that's in the pudding by looking at how many sales the team has had year to date. Compare that with anyone in this market and they're not going to win. We're not going to lose on merit. Now we may lose because we get out commissioned, outpriced, out bullshitted. But the thing is we're not losing on merit here on our team. Okay. Now, how does communication change with the sellers? Now, this is important. I take that Camtasia video when I'm done producing it, and I go over all those things, and I put it up to YouTube. Now, some of you people that are younger than me probably actually know how to do that on your cell phone. Now, I don't know how to do it on my cell phone. I don't even know if I have the app. So I get it up there somehow. Okay. Now, the other thing, again, showing that MLS screen is so important. Now, they can't argue with it, although some will. No matter what, they just can't not be delusional. And so it's just the way, that was like a triple negative. But anyways, it's just the way that it is. Okay. If you gotta, now here's the thing. If you're not sending out through Brivity or some way, like on a weekly basis, here's the things that we did this week in order to sell your home. No matter what, if you're showing them the MLS or anything else, they're going to kind of think that you're just sitting there. They just think that we just sit there. I mean, does any of us really just sit there? I mean, we're just constantly doing something. I mean, I don't know how we don't all have like head tumors from the cell phones constantly glued to our head. We're constantly glued to that thing, right? I mean, we work like 7 days a week? You know how it is. So, what are you doing to market their home? If you're not communicating that to them, they're going to be like, you just asked me for a price reduction, but yet I don't have a clue what you're doing to sell my home. So then I record a video. So I upload that thing to YouTube, and then weekly on my cell phone, right? You guys probably have some fancy way to do it, but I just do. Last week I sent mine out in camo. It was right before I went out into the duck blind. So it was unshaven, looked like heck, like little pancake syrup on the side of my face. I think I didn't notice that till after. But anyways, I did the video and I said, hey, Bob, I actually said their name. I just made this report for you. I'm sending it out to all my sellers. On your particular house, here's what we did in the last week in order to get it sold. And I just wanted to let you know that I do believe it is time for another price improvement. Okay, please watch that video. And when you want to improve your price, you need to call me, because here's your frank discussion I promised that you would have. That's it. And it's just so human because it's you and you said their name and it's just coming. And then, so that's the video I post in my text message. And then I put the YouTube link down below there. Okay. I can send that out through Brivity, but I'm actually just doing it on my personal cell phone. Okay. Now you're going to have another frank discussion with them. And it's called revisiting their motivation. Okay, when we listed this 3 months ago, you said you wanted to move down the Bitterroot Valley, correct? Yes. Is that still the case? Okay, great. The home's been on the market for 3 months. We've had a total of 6 showings. What does that tell you? Okay, great. Now, when you entered this market, I know you really wanted to be closer to family, but when you entered this market, were you just dipping your toe in, or did you actually need to sell? Need is such a huge word right now. Do you actually need to sell, or do you want to sell? You're going to have a hard time getting a want to sell to reduce, because the number one reason why they wanted to sell was for a shitload of money. That's why they wanted to sell. Okay, so if we've proven that that's not going to happen, I had one yesterday. I said, I'm ready to release you from your contract because you haven't listened to a thing I've said over the last 3 months. So I fired a client yesterday. They just refuse. They're the only client that's not coming down a little bit. They're just stuck there. And that's my fault, because I was like, I forgot to ask him. And if I'm honest with myself, I didn't ask him on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell your house? Like literally, is this a want to or a need to, right? Be careful of the client that raises the price 50 grand after they've already signed an agreement. Be super careful. I still took it, whatever. Okay. Male ego, call it whatever you want. Okay. So, Yeah, constantly remind them of their why and their motivation, but also constantly check back there, circle back to motivation. Okay. When they resist, I want to talk to you about a stock loss, what that means. So I asked them, have you ever heard of a stop loss on stocks? You say that 5 times fast, right? I think I screwed it up on the first time, but anyways, okay. So it's just what that is like, so you can call your stockbroker and you can say, look, I'm buying the stock at $50. If it ever gets down to 40, just sell the damn thing because I don't want it to go down to 30. Okay. So you can automatically pre-pick like the hit you're going to take, and you can tell them that they'll just automatically sell it. I don't know if you can do that on Robinhood, but I think, if you have a stockbroker doing that. So I tell them, I said, look, here's the deal. We've been to all of these seminars lately. We're in the know. We're invested, we get all these great reports from Goldman Sachs, and they're definitely conservative because they're not trying to scare people. And they say that the prices might go down another 5 to 10% yet over the next 10 years. So do you believe that I'm the only one hearing that, or do you believe most of the buyers in the market are hearing that from their agent? And I say, well, yeah, they're probably hearing that from the agent. So my question to you is, we're at 1.1. Do you want to reduce it down to 1 million right now, a small adjustment? Or do you want to have to go to 800 in the spring or summer next year? Do you want to do a little reduction now, or do you want to do a humongous one once this market flattens or settles out, or there's 400 homes on the market versus 250 we have now? So do you want to lose a little now? Again, circle back to motivation. Why are they selling? We have to make enough contacts, like I said, in the first 5 minutes of this. I know you're asleep, but the thing, it's like in the first 5 minutes of this, I said, you have to, okay, I'm going back up so I don't forget. We have to make enough calls to compensate for the unmotivated or the unwilling. Truly, we've got to speak to 30 to 50% more. 30 to keep your business the same, 50 to grow. Like, I know nobody wants to hear they got to go from 10 to 15 or 10 to 20. Nobody wants to hear that. But I promise you, no calluses will happen. Now, what might happen is another down payment on an investment property. What might happen is a brand new set of duck decoys. See, this is what I'm after, firearms and decoys. So, if you looked at my front porch right now at our farm, you would say, like, the mailman probably does not want to come down the drive when he sees the porch. There's got to be 10 shotguns on the front porch, muddy boots, 400 decoys. My gosh, super embarrassing, but it's totally fine. Sarah loves it. But and then here's the thing I'll leave you with right now. I don't know how much more time we have, but I just have one more thing to say. Feedback has never been more important on your listings. Don't let a chance go by for you to call the buyer's agent, also for recruiting. But the other thing too is don't let a chance go by when someone shows your property to thank them and to ask them for a little bit deeper feedback. Like truly, why did they not make an offer? I don't want to know that they like the freaking drapes and all of this happy horse shit. I want to know the reason why they did not make an offer, and then I want to tell the seller why they did not make an offer. And 9 times out of 10, it's price. Okay, or 5 times out of 10. But even if it's 1 time out of 10, it's price, right? It's still an opportunity to work on, if prudent or necessary, getting a price reduction or having some ammunition to get a price reduction. Okay. So I'm just gonna leave it right there and open up for questions if you have it, or comments, or you can wake up now or whatever you want.
Okay, so I love that. If you guys have questions, go ahead and pop your hand up so we make sure we get to you. I guess my question real quick, just from what I know and hear from our agents, it almost sounds like nobody's going to sell, because who would want to sell at a decreased price? And you've been through another market and then this market. Like, are there people who end up selling, or does your business completely die off at this time? Like you're a bearer of bad news all the time. Like that's
it's not even bad news. You'll be amazed at how many people actually just love the brutal honesty. And don't you dare think that they don't know that this is going to go down some more. So that's where the need to sell comes in. Are we going to have less toe dippers? Yeah. You have to get in front of someone who needs to sell. That's really what it is. And yes, homes are absolutely selling. I don't care if the national thing says we're going to sell 10 or 20% less homes this year. I don't give a shit what's going to happen, pardon my French, what's going to happen in this market out there. I can only control what goes on up here. And what's going to go on up here is I am going to grow my business this year without a doubt, and with other great people, and they're going to grow their business as well. I'm committed to doing whatever it takes and getting in front of enough people. The question is, are you? The business is there. There's never been a year ever where homes didn't sell, ever. Never. If they sell, get in front of them. Other people are going to have negative mindsets about what we might go through. But the fact of the matter is the market never controls ever your numbers. It just simply tells you what you have to do to keep or grow your numbers from last year.
I love that. Like, if you didn't write this down, there's never been a year where millions of homes didn't sell in the United States. Never, ever, 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 ever. And if you are working with buyers, guess what? Your buyers need homes to buy, right? So there are sellers out there selling. Man, I love that. I'm going to go to Helen. Helen, good morning, Helen.
Good morning. Please forgive me for having my camera off. I didn't get my eyebrows on in time, but
I forgive you.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Jason, that you are just amazing. You are so awesome. And thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. And it was just very encouraging. I just moved to a new market as well, where I have no sphere of influence. And so just to hear your story and how you built your sphere and your book of business was just really encouraging. I went from Houston to like Tulsa. So I went from a market where like everyone wanted to be to a market where I'm like, who's coming here? So thank you so much again for your time. And we appreciate you.
Tell me your first name.
I'm Helen.
Helen, I'll pray for you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that. Helen, you are awesome. Man, okay, so I'll leave it with this, Jason. As we're rounding out the last 6 weeks of this sales year, right? Once we get to December, everything there it's all January, February, March stuff. What are you telling your team? Like, as far as like, where are the opportunities? How do we end strong? Like, what do you want to leave us with on just let's go. Let's like not make the next 6 weeks pointless.
Here's the thing. We need to commit today to make 5 to 10 more contacts every single day. Commit now. That's really it. Then we need to commit to improving our skills. Because if we talk to 20 people with mediocre skills, or we talk to 20 people with insane skills, which is chipping away at that 10,000 hours it takes to master something. If we do that and we talk to more, what we've just done is opened up endless possibilities for our business, truly. Now, you have to get the mind there or the body will not follow. That's for sure. And then the last thing is, more than ever before, and this is a timely statement, although I'm biased, is we have to look at our GPA, our economic model. We have to batten down the economic hatches, okay? I got to frickin' delete the Amazon app, but then I need to look at what my goals are on a daily basis. Now, you all have a master goal planner in Adelina, a master. Revisit your plan daily. Revisit your mindset daily, 2 or 3 times a day, starting in the morning, which starts the night before. And just pound the phone, okay? That's truly what it will take here. And if you don't pound the phone, pound the pavement, knock on more doors. If you send out mailers, do that. If you're an open house guru, double the amount of open houses. Listen, you're sitting in a beautiful home for an hour or 2. There's cookies. Need I say more?
I love that. I love that. And for those of you who have never been to Montana, I know Jason just made it sound like he is out in the boonies. And, oh my gosh, I've been to Montana. That stuff is fucking expensive. you are not spending like $200,000 to buy anything. You are starting at about 800 and you're going up from there. So sometimes we'll hear somebody say something and they'll be like, you'll be like, it's not for me because my market does this and my market. Let me tell you, that is an expensive market. And if he's gonna have conversations with people that are needing to do going from 1.4 to 1.50, you can do it too. You can do it too. And this is a good one to go back to. And it may just be so that you hear the confidence in someone, and because your competition, every one of you guys have competition like Jason in your market. Somebody's taken the listings though. We know that. Otherwise we wouldn't have anything to sell to our buyers, right? That's the reality. You guys are amazing. Have an awesome week next week with your business planning, or the week after, and we'll see you next week. And we'll just continue this trend of bringing you different speakers, because it's going to light up something different in each different person, depending on what your business plan is for next year. So just go out and kill it, because your dreams, not only are they worth it, but your dreams require it. We'll see you later, guys. Thank you so much, Jason.
It's been my pleasure, guys. Helen, I want you to crush it now. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right,
Thanks,
we'll talk.
Jason, for sending me that stuff, and I'll get it out with your contact information to everybody.
That sounds good. I'll send that right directly. Thank you.
Appreciate you. See you later, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.